No, I did
I
not
find that
know.
very strange.
It's weird, right?
So you guys are kind of like thrown into this pot together.
We are thrown in 7 women who don't know each other from Adam.
Okay.
And we're expected to get along. And naturally, you would know. 7 queens, people who think they are the main character of everybody's life, not just their own.
Why open that door to millions of strangers
into your house?
Into your house.
So when people hate Mpumi Mops, it's Mpumi Mops that they hate, it's me. It's my personality. And my husband is a very private person. Yeah. You know, he's extremely private. He doesn't want me to post him on Instagram. Mm-hmm. You know, luckily I have a nanny.
Yeah.
When they told us, because the nannies are going to do diaries, I was like, Mpumi's in that.
Were you like standing there watching her?
I've seen shocking things.
Yeah.
When I visit people's homes. Umuntu azo belittle another woman in front of you.
It's a pity.
And then our auntie, they will say, it's a scam. It's a big fat lie. I do not look like that every day. I am not against skin lightening products because I can see that there's a lot of women out there.
There's a market.
Yes.
Here's the thing, there is a market.
There's a huge market.
Okay.
For me, as long as you're doing it and you've done your research and it's safe.
My big thing is this is not a medical professional.
It's not.
They don't know how much they need to put in this thing for it not to harm you. Please don't do it. But we're seeing them pop up everywhere.
There's IV drips. Nasema tuck shop and my IV drips are gone. Ikas. You know, everywhere they pop up. You and I could administer.
Are you hyperboling or are you?
Yeah, I'm just
okay. Like, wait. Hello, our guest today is mother, businesswoman, model, reality star, and all-around celebrity, Mpumi Mops, otherwise known as Mrs. Mops. Hi.
Hello. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm so happy you're here.
I'm excited to be here.
So happy you're
I'm
here.
thrilled. Do you know this is my first podcast?
Is it?
It is.
It's actually my first podcast, as well. Let's try it out and see how this thing goes. Are you good today?
I am so good today. So good. So excited to be here.
How are the kids?
Oh, the kids are good. Yo, my kids are so good. They're growing, they're thriving, they're happy. Happy.
That's all you want, right?
That's all you want as a mom. Like, that is all you want. You want your kids to be happy, and then you think, okay, I've done my job.
And how do you know that they're happy?
Just, their energy. When they come to me and they just want hugs and kisses. I can just see that, you know what, actually something is off here. Yeah, so yeah, that's how I know.
That's good, that's good. So tell me, let's start right at the beginning. I first got to know of you with Real Housewives. I might be wrong. And you did some modeling work before, but I first got to actually pay attention to your work as a rising star at the time, through Real Housewives. You did season 1 and season 2.
Season 2 only.
Season 2 only?
Yes.
Were you only introduced season 2?
Just season 2.
Why don't I feel you've always been there?
I know, right? Because I was the show.
Because no, like seriously.
I carried it.
I don't remember a point when you were not there.
Yeah, no, I was only on season 2.
We're on season 2. Oh, okay. Because seriously, I didn't even bother going back to see her because I thought she's always been there. And then she left.
Then I left.
And then you left. How was season 2 for you?
I really enjoyed season 2. It was like my first big TV thing.
Yeah.
So, I've done a few TV things. Here and there, I have a drama. I have a degree in drama.
Okay.
I studied drama. And so, I did ads here, little telenovelas here and there, but I hadn't done like a huge thing, like a reality TV show, and I had fun. It was fun.
How do you get to be on the Real Housewives of anywhere, right? Like, how does that happen? Do you call the producers and say, hey, I think I'm really fabulous. I've got this fabulous wardrobe. I've got this fabulous house, fabulous kids, fabulous husband. My life is just fabulous.
Yeah.
You got to have me. Or do they reach out and say, hey, we see you on Instagram. We think you're fabulous. How does that go?
Well, with me, I think it happened by chance. I had met the executive producer at that time, Sonia, at a fashion show.
Okay.
Right? And she was sitting across from me. And I said to my friend, my friend said to me, isn't that Sonia from the Real Housewives of Johannesburg, the executive producer? And I was like, actually, that is. And she was like, don't you want to go and say hi? I was like, okay, I'll go and say hi. So during the break, I went over to Sonia. I was super nervous. Season 1 had just wrapped.
Oh, okay.
And then I said to Sonia, hello, Sonia. My name is Mpumi. I really love your work. Congratulations on season 1. Is there going to be a season 2? And I remember Sonia looking at me with a little sparkle in her eye, you know? And she was like, yeah, there will be a season 2. Would you want to be on a show like that? And I was like, would I want to be on a show like that? Of course I want to be on a show like that. And she took my numbers.
Right.
Literally forgot about it. 3 months later, she called me. She's like, Mpumi, it's Sonia. Remember the conversation we had? Would you still want to be a part of that? And I was like, hell yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's how it happened for me. For others, I don't know. But for me, it was like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then did you, and this is what I think everybody wants to know, did you know any of the ladies on the show?
No. I did not
find that
know.
Very strange.
It's weird, right?
So you guys are kind of like thrown into this pot together.
We are thrown in 7 women who don't know each other from Adam.
Okay.
And we're expected to get along. And naturally, you would know. 7 queens, people who think they are the main character of everybody's life, not just their own, right? And you're expected to be BFFs. It's bound to go wrong. Bound to. Well, I made one connection. I mean, Tabo LaJoy, that was like my girl on the show. We met on the show and we hit it off. And what was nice about that was like our friendship was just so genuine, even off camera. I loved her energy. So yeah, that's one lady that I actually clicked with.
So Tabo, she's fantastic. Her story is very inspirational.
Yes.
And she I like her. Hopefully we'll have her soon. So you hooked up with Tabo. There's a scene that is kind of like, embedded in my mind. You guys are having dinner at one of my favorite places. It's owned by a good friend, Signature.
Okay, in Morningside.
In Morningside.
Yes.
You guys are having dinner there. And I don't quite remember what goes pear-shaped as it is bound to. And she ups and leaves.
She leaves.
And then you stuck there with these ladies. And then I remember she got down, she went down the escalators and she said, I love you. And then you had to, and I was thinking, oh no. But did that kind of like help you, I don't know, force you form some kind of friendship, or do you just think I'm on my own?
You know what? At that time, I didn't think I was on my own because she left because she was trying to avoid a certain lady.
Yeah.
And she didn't want any drama.
Right.
But that scene is epic because that's a meme now. Everywhere.
Yes.
I see it everywhere on the internet. It's like when your mom drops you off at school.
And you're like,
and it's like, I love you. Bye. You'll be fine.
She literally did that. And you were fine. I mean, you held the show.
Yeah. I was okay. I was like, okay, listen. I got it.
What did you enjoy about it?
The show entirely. I loved just, getting to know the women on the show. I loved bonding with the crew. People, the behind the scenes, the crew members are so nice.
Yeah.
I just loved going to different places to do different things. I mean, they would take us bungee jumping. They would take us to strip clubs. They would take us to things that you'd never do
ordinarily.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. They would take us there. And that's what I enjoyed. I enjoyed that.
And what did you not enjoy?
I didn't enjoy the hours. Okay. What people don't know is that it's about 3 or 4 months of shooting. Straight, nonstop. Sometimes including weekends, you know? And that was hectic, for my kids, because they were so used to having me around all the time. For my husband, and for me as well, I was drained all the time. And to have people in your space all the time, following you 24/7, that took a lot of getting used to.
Is it a 24/7 follow situation?
Not always, but some days, yes. Some days you'd go to 2 dinner parties.
Yeah.
And some days you have a suitcase in your car because you have to change scenes to make it look like it's the same day or like a different day.
Like a different day, yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I didn't like about it. And also, reality TV is invasive. Extremely, extremely invasive. So as soon as you open that door to the public, it literally is, like
So why do you open that door? Let's go right into it. Why open that door to millions of strangers
into your house, into your personal
many
space.
of them envious, critical, toxic, often. Why did you do it? Let's talk about that, because I look at you from where I sit and I think you don't need this glare and this attention. Your life looks pretty solid, you know. But you obviously thought otherwise.
Yeah, for me personally, I did it because I just, I wanted to be in the TV space.
Okay.
I've just always wanted to be in the TV space, whether it was reality TV or just like a regular old TV. From a young age, I've always seen myself being a TV personality.
Right.
And when that chance came to me, I was like, listen, this doesn't just come, it doesn't just drop from the sky and onto your lap. If an opportunity like this comes, grab it. I'm an Aries, that's my star sign. And we're very impulsive.
Okay.
So I don't say no to anything. In fact, I love a good challenge.
Right.
So when that came about, I said, okay, why not? At the time I didn't really think it through because you think to yourself, oh, this is a brilliant idea. You know?
Yeah.
It's a platform. I'm going to push my business.
Yes.
I'm going to push my brand. I'm going to push this. Forgetting that the dark side of it is that there are people who are looking at you, but they don't love you. There are people looking at you, they have a personal vendetta, and you forget about that. And also, the thing is, when you're on reality TV, you can't hide behind a character. It's you.
Yeah.
So when people hate Mpumi Mops, it's Mpumi Mops that they hate. It's me. It's my personality, and that really stings, because you think to yourself, oh, people love me. Oh, I'm the best. And then you read a tweet and they're like, her voice is so annoying. Her accent is so fake.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, okay. They hate me.
Oh, no.
But it is what it is. It's the dark side of television or of being a public figure.
Okay. You're a married woman. How do you sell this at home? How do you say, listen?
Yes.
I just imagined how my conversation would go.
Right? I remember that day like it was yesterday.
I just like, ooh, okay. So how did you navigate that? Like, oh gosh, like, did you have to cook like a special meal?
I remember it so well. We were out for dinner. And I hadn't told him that I had been approached to do the Real Housewives.
Yeah.
And my husband is a very private person.
Yeah.
He's extremely private. He doesn't want me to post him on Instagram. Anyway, he just says to me, Mpumi, please do you. But I don't want to be on your Instagram. I don't want to be, do not post me. Okay? And I respect that. So we're having dinner and I say to him, babes, I've been approached by this show. And he goes, oh, a show? That's nice. Are you going to audition? He thinks it's just like, an acting gig.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, no, it's a reality TV show. And he's like, nope, not doing it. And I'm like, no, but I've already spoke. He's like, nope, not doing it. He literally was like, you're not doing it.
Yeah.
And I said, but why? Why I support you when you're doing stuff? Why can't you support me? The kids are big. I think it's time for me to not go out there and make a name for myself. And he's like, why would you do that, Mpumi? Like you said earlier, you're fine. You've got everything your heart desires. Why would you want to put yourself out there like that? This world is cruel. We're going to eat you up and spit you out. And I said, please give me a chance because I really need this. Or I thought I needed it, but And he was like, okay, do it, but
yeah,
in indabeni zakho, please. So that was like a deal with us.
It's a fair trade.
It was a fair trade.
He was
just like,
given...
yeah.
Yeah.
So people think I hide him because of what? No, he does not want to be on TV or anywhere else.
I don't know personally. I don't know any serious businessman
who wants to be out there.
Who wants to be out there like that. And I am not saying that the other husbands who participate on these shows are not serious businessmen, but the amount of time it takes to project and be directed and move from one space to another for the camera, I can't imagine somebody who's really focused on building their work would be thinking about, is this the right angle? I'm just and however, that said, there are a lot of men who enjoy these spaces and the clear of the public, just because ours perhaps don't necessarily like that. Yeah. No, I get that. I totally relate to that. I wouldn't even bring it up.
No, at home, I'm sure your husband would be like, nope.
No, because I know the answer.
Why is this a topic?
Yeah, it's just, it wouldn't, like, I wouldn't, when you know. It's like some things are just, and those conversations are just never going to happen. But when they do happen, I'm always curious from other women who are in lifelong partnerships, hopefully, how did that conversation go? Because you're not just Mpumi.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
You represent him.
Yes.
His brand, his family brand, his surname, that entire family that we marry into, the in-laws. Speaking of the in-laws, how did your parents, because you featured them.
I did.
Yeah, that was very nice. I like that.
Yeah.
How did they handle being on camera?
They were so awkward. Shame. I say to them, Mom and Dad, we're going to come and film in Tsakane.
Yeah.
Because I'm from Tsakane.
Yeah.
And they were like, Manje, I'm like, no.
You're just going to eat.
Yeah, you just want to bond and eat and talk, but there'll be cameras. And my dad is like, and my mom was like, I was again, and let's see what we're going to do. But it was so awkward for them.
The things they do for us,
The things they do for us.
Gosh. Shame, that was really sweet.
That was
because
very
I can't imagine them being
No, they were so awkward. So awkward.
It ordinarily it is awkward unless you have like a parent who's always wanted to to
be on TV
or on TV. I don't remember seeing any of your siblings though.
No, so my sister was like, I'm not going to do it, and my brother was like, sorry, Mpumi, nope.
Yeah, because they were like, and I get that as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, I would struggle if a friend said, come, let's pay. You know, like how you guys introduced.
So if I had to feature you as a friend of the show, you wouldn't want to. So that's what?
I'm very awkward with such situations.
Yes, not understandably so.
Yeah, I'm very awkward with such situations. Then you left.
Yes, the Housewives.
The Housewives, yeah. The Housewives. After that nasty reunion, which I think the less said about it, the better.
I didn't even see it coming. So, like, I just learned that, you know what, you need to be very careful. What it did to me, I sort of became very closed off.
Okay.
Very, very closed off. I was just like, you know what, do not trust another female ever again. It's a chat that you have to have before you sign that contract.
Okay.
With the nanny.
Yeah.
And it's because they get their own separate paycheck as well.
Okay.
So it's a chat that you have to say, Auntie, we're going to be on TV. I don't see you being a nanny forever. I am going to empower you. I think we see them as competition. Even though Uyambona Auntie is not in your league.
So then you left.
Yes. The Housewives.
The Housewives, yeah. The Housewives. After that nasty reunion, which I think the less said about it, the better. But what did that reunion teach you about reunions? You know what I mean? That because I watched that, and when you announced that you're not returning, I was like, why? Why would you already return? I was sad that we're not going to see you again, because in as much as I'm a firm, and anybody who knows me, I am a firm critic of too much exposure. Let's call it that. However, I can be quite hypocritical because I'm the first one to look forward to the reunion. In fact, I would even not watch it. I would watch it when there's two of them already, you know, because then I could really, really get my feel. So after that, then you know how unpleasant it was. I don't like it when we're very unpleasant towards each other.
It was not nice.
It was not nice and unnecessary also. But what did that teach you about women, how we relate to each other, how we harbor things to use against each other for our own benefit, for example, because that is what I picked up from there. I picked up that information was harbored and kept to be used on camera.
Yes, as an ace up my sleeve.
As you know what I mean, as an ace up my sleeve, and that did not sit well with me.
Yeah.
And how did that? What did you learn?
I didn't even see it coming. So like I just learned that, you know what, you need to be very careful. What it did to me, I sort of became very closed off.
Okay.
Very, very closed off. I was just like, you know what, do not trust another female ever again. I can never have female friends. It damaged me to the point where I was like, oh my word, it's just television, guys. Did we have to really go that deep?
Go for the kill. Like,
you know, literally go for the jugular. And it was that, I was like, it's just TV, it's just entertainment. And yeah. It was tough.
Are you in contact with any of the ladies from that space?
No, I'm not in contact with any of the ladies except for Tabo and Crystal. Those are the only two.
Crystal.
Yes. Those are the only two that I actually really talk to.
Okay.
The rest of the ladies, no, I wish them well. You know, but we don't talk.
Will you ever go back
to the Real Housewives of Johannesburg?
Yeah. I mean, you've got a brand now. I can't imagine any reality show not wanting Mrs. Mops to come and glamorize the place while lighting those fires.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you?
I mean, I'm not saying no. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. So never say never.
Yeah. And then you moved on to the Mummy Club.
The Mummy Club, yes.
I was very happy to see you there. Actually, I was very skeptical of the Mummy Club because
Tell me why.
I'll tell you why. I really thought we've crossed the line, especially with the nannies.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I thought
you're cooking. Give me more.
I thought that relationship is very sacrosanct in the sense that Nomuntu is your sister who's helping you raise your child, and you're still their boss. The dynamics for me were going to be very tricky to project in a manner that a director's cut would be able to fully project. How did that, so what was sold to you? Like, you know what I mean? Like you and your nanny, nobody even speak. I speak to the nanny. Don't speak to her.
Do not speak to the nanny without me.
And then you put your nanny on TV. Like, this person knows so much about you.
In and out. It's a chat that you have to have before you sign that contract.
Okay.
With the nanny. Yeah. And it's because they get their own separate paycheck as well.
Okay.
So it's a chat that you have to say, Auntie, la. We're going to be on TV, you and I.
You see, that is the thing. I do watch yourself. We're going to be on TV.
Yes. Please, ezinye izinto azikhulunywa ne. Briga.
Yeah.
You know? So it was those conversations. And luckily, I have a nanny.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yes.
Yeah, mine is, she's like, don't worry, mommy.
I've got this.
Don't worry.
Because okay, so it is not like a household check like Mpumi and Kojo, what's your ubani wako?
Manchi.
Manchi. So it's not Mpumi and Manchi collab.
No.
There's your deal. There's your contract. She has her own contract.
She does. She does. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you've got yours, and then she's got her own clauses and things like that.
Yes.
So you must then say, okay. You see,
and then now, whereas madam, you need to and say, okay, so that you and I look like we're one team. We're
yeah.
Because the audience is not stupid; they can see ukuthi no man lethu ngathi abathandani.
Eh,
You know, so you just have to be 18.
just have to be 18. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so you gotta have that talk.
You have to beforehand. It's so important. Even when they do their diaries, you know, when they told us the nannies are gonna do diaries, I was like, yo, Mpumi in that.
Were you like standing there watching her do her diary like I'm watching you? Because I cannot think of a person who knows more about me than the home staff.
Yep.
Right? The housekeeper and the nanny
Yes.
know what I ate, what I'm wearing.
They know if I was crying that morning.
They know if I was crying that morning.
They know if I threw a tantrum at my husband.
They
know. They see stuff.
They see so much, and so much gets unsaid between the two of you,
Correct.
right? Because, I mean, I don't have to explain myself,
Yes.
right? What you heard, what you saw is... And then now we're going to be on TV, and then you're going to be tadaing with me. You're very brave. But also, I think it speaks to the character of the person you brought into your home.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing, right? Because you've brought this person into your home, they have to become part of family.
Yes.
And learn to keep family secrets.
Absolutely. I was lucky with having Manchi. Umanchi, I would like to maybe inherited her from my previous nanny, who is her aunt. So when her aunt retired, she was about 75 and she was super tired. And I was like, Gogo, maungishiya manje. Ngizosala nobani because angithembi muntu.
Yeah.
And she was like, actually, you know what? I've got somebody. My niece is so young, so alive and happening. She is like a younger version of me.
Okay.
Try her out. And she was right. I love Manchi. She's a girl's girl.
I'm glad it worked out for
and
you.
angifuna ukumenza ineni forever. Yazi ngoba ngibona potential.
Yeah.
Uzothola i-license. I'm going to help her start up a business. In fact, actually, ilena izoyiphasile.
Oh, that's good.
So I said to her, well done, girl. And she's smart. I said,
she's very smart.
I don't see you being a nanny forever. I am going to empower you. There is no way that you can have me as your boss and for me not to empower you because I just don't, you are too smart to be a nanny. So we're on that journey. I'm going to help her start up her thing. And luckily for me, they're not small, like they're small, but they're not babies.
Yes,
you know, so I want her to spread her wings and fly.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's really admirable. Why do you think that Black women have got such a bad reputation, not call that, unfavorable reputation when it comes to how we treat our home staff? You know what it is? You know the rumors.
I know them.
We've seen, we haven't just know the rumors.
Yes, I've seen shocking things.
Yeah.
When I visit people's homes. Umuntu azo belittle another woman in front of you. Don't do that. Don't embarrass me like that.
And it's embarrassing to you, and everybody's embarrassed but you.
It's embarrassing. And I'm a guest, our hambe. Take me to the side and say, Auntie,
so the rumors are to some extent true. But I've seen some exceptional cases. I want to believe that I'm one of such cases. But why is that? Why is it that we find it so difficult to empower other Black women as Black women in South Africa?
I think we see them as competition. Even though uyambona ukuthi Auntie is not in your league, but there's a threat ukuthi she might just,
do what?
Maybe take over the household. Maybe she wants your man. I don't know.
I actually wanted to take over the household.
Take over the household so I can get a break.
Yeah, like I don't want to be thinking about grocery lists.
Yes.
And what the child is wearing. And shopping for the child.
Yes.
I'm just that type of person.
Yes. Can I just go and make money and come back and chill?
I just want to do what I want to do, be a good mother. There's just some aspects of mothering that I don't particularly enjoy.
Yes.
Such as figuring out what to wear in the morning and arguing with a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
So take over those things. Do you think that's it? We want the assistance, but we don't want to let go of some of the power.
Yes, we don't want to let go of some of the power. You have to know your place. I am the madam and you are the help. And do not even blur those lines and think auntie.
So
we're like that.
So now you must
I hate that.
Now do you think about everything?
Now you have to,
what's in the lunchbox? Can I not?
No, I don't want. That's one thing about me. I do not micromanage. I do not micromanage. If I've told you what you need to do, I expect you to do it to the best of your ability. Yes, you can give me tips and advice. You're also a mom.
Yeah.
You can say to me, oh, but Mrs. Mops, how about I'm open to those ideas, you know.
But there is a structure in Peluti. Lengane, I want you to eat this, and that, and not this and that. And then just leave it to her to stay within those parameters. And not yeah, it's a pity.
And in Abu Auntie, they will say,
that is the thing.
They say that because apparently we are so bad to them. And it's sad because, I mean, why?
They say they're treated better by other races. I've seen them being treated better, but I've also seen them not being treated so good. I've seen certain households where there's different cutlery.
Yes, completely.
I've seen
you're not part of the family.
You're not part of the family. I've seen cases where they have to bring their own lunch.
Yes, bring your own lunch.
And I've seen that.
The staff quarters. When we went house hunting, my husband and I, the shock, these huge mansions, amazing, and then would say, oh, please show us the staff quarters.
Shocking. Have you seen at the back?
And I'd be like, I'm so
Such
sorry.
a contrast. Have you seen that?
Yes, I've seen it.
Do you know the contrast I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one who's seen it.
Your auntie lives at the back of the house in these conditions, yet you have such a big mansion. Shocked.
I know what you mean. I've seen, it's such a contrast.
Big one. And yet Tina, we're very inviting to our auntie. We'll make her part of the household, you know. You're part of the family, auntie. Share the food with us. But as soon as you feel good, auntie's getting comfortable, now you start getting, Hey, lagwam.
It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one.
It is a very tricky one.
I want us now to talk about the state of the industry, you know, the lay of the land where you and I operate, mostly because we're both businesswomen, but we also passionate about pop culture, trends analysis, what's in, what's out. What do you find exciting right now? You know, like, that's interesting. That's fascinating. It can be a local phenomenon or even international one. Like, what are you observing that you think that is quite nice and we don't quite have it? Or even if we do, maybe we're not expressing it the way that we do. Because I'll tell you what, I was speaking to somebody recently and we were talking about how the same show could look in the US or in the UK, but when we bring it here, there's always that South African thing about it. Yeah. What do you think is interesting internationally and how we tend to do it locally?
You know what I've noticed that's international and that we could do better locally is the reality TV space.
Yeah.
I think, you know, like for example with the show, let me say the show Cheaters, right?
Yeah.
When it was in America, it was polished. You know, it was very like, oh yeah, you know, running around with cameras and then you've got a guy. Here, you had the lady waiting with boiling water and a knife. And it was like very like, it had that African feel to it. I mean, not to say that boiling water and a knife is African feel, but
it is a uniquely South African
it's very unique
trait of reacting to the betrayal.
Yes, we're very passionate about that.
Yeah.
And what I found with different platforms, I noticed with TikTok and Instagram is that the TikTokers are very natural.
Yeah.
So she'd wake up with a talking and make a video and be like, yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Where's
blah,
the confidence coming from to do that though? Like, Jess.
Whereas with Insta, it's very glam. Polished,
Insta.
You know? And just the comedy of it all. Everybody's a comedian, but everybody is funny. You know? So do
you enjoy TikTok?
There's something authentic
about it.
About TikTok that you don't find on Instagram. Because you know what, 16-year-old? You don't know that Mrs. Mops was crying her eyes out before she posted that picture. You don't know that. You don't know that Mrs. Mops didn't get that business deal that she was hoping to get.
Yeah.
And to make herself feel better, she went out and had a big fat lunch.
What are your views on skin lightening products? Please don't hold back. Tell me how you really feel.
The black girls are like, Doc, just give it to me. IV drip, you know? And for me, I'm not against that as long as it's safe. The doctors know the amount they need to give you. Whereas Mohammed back door, or when I go and pick up my daughter at her school, the matriculants or the grade 8s, they're like, oh my gosh, this is, you know, so I enjoy TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, but you know, sometimes I browse through my son's phone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, you know?
Yeah.
I do enjoy TikTok. There's something authentic
about it.
About TikTok that you don't find on Instagram.
Okay.
Like the girl will make content in a shack. There's this girl that I saw, and she'll make a day in the life of me in Mkuku. You know?
I think I've seen that.
Yes, and she'll go to a spaza shop.
And then she cooks.
And she cooks, and she makes her bed. Her bed has got 4 bricks. It's people love her. It's real, and people can relate to that. Whereas on Instagram, they can't relate to that because it's so done up. Those two platforms are quite interesting.
They are quite interesting. I want to talk a bit about that, about how done up Instagram is and how you and I understand that it is done up. But I always wonder if my 15-year-old niece knows that this is not Mrs. Mops on a daily basis.
Oh, amen.
You know, I was talking to you about how beautiful your feed is, your page is. It's beautiful, it's well thought out, strategic, you know, it's put together, it's packaged. And I worry that the 15-year-old looks at this and thinks, this is how I should look every day.
Yeah.
Because that is not how you look every day. Unless it is how you look every day.
No, it's a scam. It's a big fat lie. I do not look like that every day.
Yeah, because okay, she does not look like that every day. I'm not even going to say you put on a filter because you are gorgeous.
Thank you.
But you put on the clothes and the makeup and the hair, and then you do that. There's therefore no need for you, 16-year-old, to feel the pressure for you to look like her.
Like that. Because you know what, 16-year-old? You don't know that Mrs. Mops was crying her eyes out before she posted that picture. You don't know that. You don't know that Mrs. Mops didn't get that business deal that she was hoping to get.
Yeah.
And to make herself feel better, she went out and had a big fat lunch and started saying, oh my gosh, blah, 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 blah. You don't know that. It's just a picture. It's a moment in time.
It's a moment in time.
And that's what's so warped about today's society and with technology and everything else. We think that a filter is who you are.
That people build their lives around what you put on the internet.
Yes.
It is very scary because you know why? I wonder if they're ready for the disappointments that awaits when they realize that actually that was a brief moment in time. This is not how life works. And I wonder if as parents, I've got an 18-year-old and he's not on Instagram. I took him off because I didn't want him obsessing about the cars. As a boy, he's more about the cars and the sneakers. I didn't want him obsessing about that. But I have many a young person in my life who I see on these platforms and I can see them trying to be like you.
They do. You know the DMs that I get from young people who are like, Mrs. Mops, can I have an iPhone 15? Like, girl, you want an iPhone 15? I would get like DMs like, oh, Mrs. Mops, I need this and this and this. And, you know, sometimes I'll answer the DMs and you know, say, oh, no, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But sometimes it's just a lot. You would think the entitlement of saying, I want an iPhone 15, you know? And I'm thinking,
what you gonna do with it? Are you gonna shoot a movie?
What are you gonna do with an iPhone 15? You know? Yeah, it's a scary place to be.
Are your kids on social media?
No.
Are they on TikTok? Or?
Yes, TikTok, yes. So it's monitored. My son's TikTok is monitored. And I have a what is it called? Password, to his iPhone.
Code. Okay.
Yes. So I know what he's looking at. So it's quite monitored, but I know there will be a time where I'm going to have to back off a little bit. And I've told them, I said, guys, like, people on social media are behind the scenes and they're keyboard warriors. And so they will say whatever comes to mind. If your head is big, they'll say big head. You know, and if that hurts you, it'll ruin your whole entire day. If you post a picture and it only gets 5 likes, that's it. It doesn't make who you are. The 5 likes are not who you are, you know? And what I've seen with today's kids is that the likes make them.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got 20,000 likes. Yes, I'm the man. No.
So imagine the day they get 10 likes.
Yes.
How much of a downer that is from complete strangers.
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't matter what you've accomplished in real life.
It doesn't. It's all about the likes.
It is all about what strangers like about you.
And have you noticed now, because it's affecting people, Instagram has an option of not having the likes on. So people can just like, but you can't see how many likes you've got.
Oh, I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah,
Is it?
Yeah, you can disable that feature and see how many and you don't have to see how many
because you're
like
just going to have to post whatever it is that you post.
Because actually people take this seriously.
I wonder how many people would disable that, because that is the addiction, right? That is the fix.
Yes.
Right.
Constant
validation.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Fire pictures.
I'm actually going to make an inquiry and ask, like, how many people have disabled their likes feature, which is basically people who just want to document their lives.
Yes.
Because the way I see Instagram, or the way I treat it, at least in my personal space, is my family album. You know, like, this is where I document them, the important moments. Yeah, they go to the cloud, but it is also where... but for a lot, in fact, for the majority of people, it is for you to see me.
Yeah.
And how great I am.
And how I'm always happy.
And I'm always happy.
And how perfect I am, which is such a lie.
It is not true.
It's not true. It's not true. And I just want young people to know that, and older people as well, is that really it's not real. It really isn't real. It's just a bunch of pictures. It's a moment in time. And you don't know what Mpumi is going through with a beautiful curated Instagram. Page. Yeah.
But then, Mpumi, why don't you then show us that side? For example, you're a businesswoman. You've got a new skin range coming up. You don't show us that. Why is that? Why is it that you... I'm sure you'll show it perhaps when it's done.
When it's ready.
When it's ready. But I feel... and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel that I would learn so much more about you if I saw you struggling. Not that I would rejoice in your struggle, but if I saw you trying to build it instead of you just saying, "Tada, skin range." Because that, for me, I feel, Lucy, this is where they get the delusion that you went and said, "I want this." And then it was delivered.
It just happened.
You know what I mean?
You actually have a point there.
I could be wrong. I just get the feeling that
you are so right. I think, and that's what sets TikTok and Instagram apart, because the TikTokers will say,
"Hey guys, I'm
an empty warehouse," and then they'll show us an empty warehouse, and then they'll show us her going to the bank and asking for a loan. And then they'll show, like, the steps towards the business.
Yeah.
You know? Whereas on Instagram, it's like, "Hi, the keys to my new apartment." You know? So I think that's what we need to learn as a public figure as well. It's something that I also need to share with my fans and the people who follow me, is that, yes, I've got a new skincare line.
We're going to talk about that just now.
But I need you guys to see that I've been testing samples and testing it on my skin and getting burnt on my skin, and, you know, trying different things just so I can get a perfect product out. You know,
the label design, the packaging,
the
this, the that.
You know, the headache of this guy dropping me and then having to hire somebody else.
Distribution,
all of that mess. That needs
we
to be documented.
don't see that.
We don't
see what
it.
you're going to say. I'm going to see you saying, "Look,
yes,
I've got this now."
Yes,
and I think we have a responsibility especially to the young ones, to say it is not as instantaneous as it looks.
Oh, yeah.
It took months and months of planning and plotting, lots of disappointments along the way. I think that's very important. And what you see on Instagram is literally a finished, polished product.
Yeah.
But tell me about your skincare range.
My baby.
Yes.
Nala Rain.
Nala. Nala Rain. Yes. Nala, what does Nala mean?
Nala is my daughter's name.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And Rain, like a queen that reigns.
Yes, yes.
So Nala Rain. And I started the skincare because I used to get a lot of requests in my DMs, like I always do. And
like how do you, for skin?
Yes.
Yeah, like a...
Mrs. Mops, please take us through your skincare routine.
Okay.
Mrs. Mops, tell us what she used. Mrs. Mops, how do I? You're flawless, blah, blah, blah. And I woke up and I was like, actually, you know what? I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm going to plug the hands.
Okay.
And the gents as well. And that's what I'm doing right now is my skincare range and just having beautiful, flawless skin.
So how do you start a skin range? I don't know where to start. Do you go to Lusikisiki, to some herbalist tree person and say, I'm looking for, take me to the forest where I shall find.
Where I'm going to mix.
Where I'm going to mix and grind. Like, where do you start?
With me, I have a friendship with my dermatologist.
Okay,
yes.
That's that. Oh, there we go. No need to go to the forest.
No, there's no need to go to the forest. You can.
I suppose, because I want to know where to start. Like, what plant do I need? Yeah.
Yes, I went to my dermatologist and I was like, doc, here's what I want to do, but I want to make sure that it's safe and I want to make sure that it works, and I don't want to scam people, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, okay, do 1, 2, and 3. Let's sample it. Let's go through this. We'll mix and match. We'll just try it out.
Yeah.
So for me, it was important to start with a doctor first, before I distribute it out to the masses.
Yeah. And for them to say, okay, this is safe. This is safe. It works. It's safe. It works. It's safe. Or it's safe. It works.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Because they gotta be parallel, right? None of them is more important than the other.
Yes, absolutely.
Speaking of things, okay, so where are you in the process now?
We're quite close, actually. We are. I just need to finish my website, and everything else, and then it'll be out.
Have you done like a label design? That always it takes me quite a while to decide on.
Yeah, that
labeling is an art on its own, right?
It's an art on its own. The font, the colors, how it needs to look. Because for me, it's luxurious.
Yeah.
But it's affordable. That's what I wanted. I wanted it to be like the man in the middle,
Okay.
And so that everybody can be able to get it, So the label design, all of that, the small stuff, I want to be hands-on. Like that's what I love about myself is that I'm a very hands-on businesswoman.
Okay.
It's my baby after all. So I just need to nurture and take care, make sure that she's perfect.
Nala Rain.
Nala Rain.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. And you've done your bottling. You've decided.
I've done my bottling. It's in a glass packaging because plastic, as we know, has chemicals in it. So I chose the more expensive option, which is glass.
Yeah.
But it's worth it because then I know the product is good and it's not going to go off or, be hazardous on the skin.
Breakage at last, Mpumi.
Oh, that's a risk.
It's a risk, and I must just be more careful. Okay. Hey, because it's devastating.
It's devastating when you put on your cream and then... That's the worst. Yeah. That's happened to me.
Yeah, it has happened to me. It has happened to me. Oh, I'm very happy for you. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
And distribution, have you figured out what your model will look like?
You know what? Yeah, that's still... that's still like a plan that we need to have. But it's going to be online more than anything.
It is, shelf space is a nice to have. But it is almost impossible because it's so limiting.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Whereas if I order directly from you, you are in control. It's just the courier guy.
That's it.
It works. Look, the model works, right?
It really does work. It's convenient as well.
It's convenient. It works. You've got a much more direct relationship with your customers, much more direct feedback. I believe in that. I believe in and then if you grow, you grow. The demand grows, but I don't think you should break your back trying to get onto somebody's shelf space, and then you don't control.
And then you can't control
You can't
it.
control anything,
Yeah.
and then you must produce crazy amounts.
And the
Of
quality
volume,
goes down.
and then
I don't
they've lost.
Yeah.
I think if it's such a personal thing like that. Look, skincare is a very touchy subject for us here in South Africa.
Extremely touchy.
And then earlier on, I said safe and effective.
Mm-hmm.
What are your views on skin lightening products? Please don't hold back. Tell me how you really feel.
Wow. Okay. I am not against skin lightening products because I can see that there's a lot of women out there.
There's a market.
Yes.
Here's the thing. There is a market.
There's a huge market.
Okay.
For me, as long as you're doing it and you've done your research and it's safe,
Mm-hmm.
then you can do it. So you know the IV drips that have the glutathione in them, right? And we all want it for that glow.
Yeah.
But we know that the after effects of glutathione is skin lightening. You know, your dermatologist will tell you that, okay, I'll give you glutathione, but the side effect
is that it
lightens
your penis. Yes.
And the black girls are like, doc, just give it to me. IV drip, you know? And for me, I'm not against that as long as it's safe. The doctors know the amount they need to give you. Whereas Mohammed back door, that's when they
need back door. Let's talk about back door, right? Because South Africa is a very unique market in a sense that you are accessible not just to people who can afford what you use on your own skin, but people who want to look like you without necessarily affording the IV drip from your dermatologist. Hence, there are these
back door, cheaper,
much more cheaper,
hazardous.
My big thing is this is not a medical professional.
It's not.
They don't know how much they need to put in this thing for it not to harm you. Please don't do it. But we're seeing them pop up everywhere.
There's IV drips. Nasema tuck shop and my IV drips are corn. Ikas. You know, everywhere they pop up. You and I could administer.
Are you hyperboling or are you?
Yeah, I'm just
okay. Like, wait. Yeah, but they're so prevalent. But we don't do that. I haven't been home in a while. I'm like, wait.
You're like, how?
Because I'll tell you why. I was having a chat with my sister-in-law and we were talking about the mall pop-ups. And I was saying, I don't even mind it if it's in a mall or a shopping center, but as long as I know that there's a medical professional behind it and they've taken down your vitals, this, and that, and you are good for it. Instead of just coming to me and I just pop a needle in your vein and I pop you with things you don't even understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, the fly-by-night ones are super dangerous. And unfortunately, we don't ask. We come in, we want an IV drip.
I get to when you go there and they charge you an X amount.
They do. And
I want to look like you, and you did an IV drip, so I'm also going to do an IV drip at a fraction of what you paid because guess what? I don't know why we don't prioritize our health over beauty.
Oh, it's so important.
I don't know why we
beauty and health need to be sisters. They need to go hand in hand. Hand in hand.
And I understand the struggle, right? I understand that we can all afford a certain quality of hair, for example, but can we not get cheap alternatives that are harmful to ourselves? Okay, so let's look forward to that.
Yeah.
So this is a tricky one for me. How much of yourself as Mrs. Mops do you expose to your kids? Do they know you're famous?
Yes, they do. Yeah, they do.
How, do they think? How do they know? Do they see on TV and they're like, okay, my mom is famous?
Yeah, they see me on TV, but they don't think it's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Until I go maybe with them to the shops.
Oh, yeah.
And then they see the shop assistant going mad and they're like, oh my God, can I take a picture? And then my kids are like,
this is strange.
Yeah, what's the big deal? You're just mommy.
Yeah.
You're just mommy to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or when I go and pick up my daughter at her school, the matriculants or the grade 8s, they're like, oh my gosh, it's Mrs. Mops. You know, so then she'd be like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how does do you worry that might give them like an inflated sense of importance or that may I don't know. I've always been curious with personalities like yourselves. Like, how do you shield your child from just viewing you as mommy, which is all that you are to them?
Yes.
You are their mother. How do you shield them from the Mrs. Mops mania? Like,
yes.
Uncontrollable teenagers fanning themselves, can't breathe because they're in your presence.
First, like, I've got such humble kids.
Okay.
They are so well behaved and they're so humble and they are just amazing. And then I have boundaries and I tell them, this is mommy's job, or one of mommy's many jobs. And, when mommy's out there, she is Mrs. Mops. But when she's at home, she is just Mpumi. She's just mom.
Yeah.
And they know that. The wig comes off. The lashes come off, and I'm just myself with them.
And because that's what they've known their entire lives.
And that's what they've known their entire lives.
So it's just their lives. It's not something that just happened to them. You became suddenly famous.
Yes.
They grew up and you were a figure.
Correct.
Already. I suppose I see it. Yeah, I see it. If that's their reality from day zero, they know no other. It's not odd.
No.
It's not odd for them.
Yeah, not at all.
So how do you look after yourself? How do you... I don't know, self-care. We speak of self-care, right? Do we even have time for self-care?
Lord.
Or must we just make time?
I wish we had more than 24 hours. I really do. But it's something that you have to prioritize. Okay. As a woman, as a mom, as a teenage girl, self-care is important because self-care is self-love.
What does that mean? Because we say self-care quite a lot.
And loosely so.
Right? And somebody may think that when I say self-care, I'm talking about a day at the spa.
And not necessarily.
And we're getting pampering. And somebody else may say self-care for me is not responding to toxic texts.
Yes.
From friends. Somebody may say self-care for me is not entertaining a relative that has got some family issues and drama. What does self-care mean for you? Is it a getaway away from the kids with umuntu wako, or is it a getaway just yourself and you're away from them and you know that this is my time? What does it mean for you?
Can I tell you something that I really like on my days off?
Okay.
Something very low maintenance that I do. For me, filling my own cup is literally coming home, getting into my pajamas,
yes,
closing my door, and just being by myself for an hour or two. Okay. That for me is the ultimate self-care, because as soon as I open that bedroom door, it's mommy. So that's what I love to do. I'd come into my bedroom, wash the day away, get into my favorite pajamas, get into bed, put on TV or just read. And then just be,
just being alone.
Being alone. What I also like to do is sometimes go on staycations. Okay. So I'd look for guest houses around my area. Okay. And I'd book for like a night there. And then I'll just sit there and order in. Yes. And then book out the next day.
Just to be alone.
That's what I do.
I go to my sister's.
Yes.
She's got like this really cute single woman vibe going there. I get there and I feel like, like fresh, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's so cool being here. Yes. Little couch there, here, little single woman things. I get so rejuvenated when I go to a place, and just then go back to the reality of the responsibilities.
Damn. That's why I realized that. That's why our moms were so bitter. I used to think, Mom, you're so angry all the time. Why? It's because back in the day, they didn't have abo auntie. They didn't have this thing of self-care. You need to point to your own cup. So that's why your mom was like, "Hey, suga wena," or things like that. Shame, because they couldn't help themselves. They
were tired. They were edgy. They were frustrated.
Our generation, we mother differently. We gentle parent. Oh, baby boy, let's go when you come give me a big hug. No, like they were like, deal with it. Or depressed.
That should sort you out.
Depressed.
Yeah. But also I find that we I don't know. I tend to tell my kids that I need some time, space. Like I would say, I'm gonna go. Everything is fine. I just want to be alone. I felt so bad the other day. She said, are you done having your space? And I said, I'm done, baby. That's why I'm out. But I find that that's important, you know, because she can't come and just exhaust me all the time, because then I'm exhausted and I'm snappy.
Yes. And I don't want to be snappy.
And I don't want to be snappy, right?
I don't want to be, because when I'm snappy, for me, it brings back memories of my mom snapping at me and saying, "I suga," you know, and it triggers me. So I don't want to be snappy. I want to be the opposite of my mom and be gentle and sweet and kind and be like, "You had a bad day, come here. Come and get a hug."
Yes. Yeah. Shame, man. But they didn't know any better.
They didn't know any better.
They didn't know any better. So what's next for you?
What's next for me? Let's see. Maybe season 3.
Okay.
I mean season 2.
Season 2 of the Mummy Club?
Season 2 of the Mummy Club.
And that was lovely. I
Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it. I was very skeptical because we were bringing in stuff, you know, and not just stuff, like intimate stuff. But I thought it was handled very well. I missed seeing more of the nannies and the mothering. I felt it moved towards another realm, where it was your dynamics. I really wished the nanny mummy situation could be explored, and the at-home relationships with the children could be explored. But it is a fabulous premise, because it is a very important one for all of our families. As professional women, we need the help, and then you need a professional woman around you as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you think you'll do it again?
I will do it again.
It was very refreshing.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But then again, I always enjoy these things.
You do always enjoy these things just for the fun of it.
Just for the fun of it.
Just that person. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope to see you very soon.
Yes, I had such a good time.
I did too. Thank you.